guys, Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. I am not alone. I'm joined by the #1 free-to-play player inside the entire world. Boozor, welcome back to the channel, man. One of my favorite collabs of the year, and we got you back. How you been?
Hey, Ash, thanks so much for having me back. Super excited again. Really fun the last time we got together for a collab and had a chance to speak. So thank you so much for having me back on your channel, and hello, everybody.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I said it in case you missed the first time that we had Boozor on the channel. Dude, we were going to do like a quick little collab, just talking to the #1 free-to-player in the world because it's interesting. And you have like the verification. We shared it all in the other video. I'm not going to share it all again here, but you can watch it. The verification that you never spent $1 and you're the most endgame free-to-play, and it's bonkers what you've been able to do. It's insane. And we just had like this little idea to have like a quick 15-minute chat, and it turned into like almost an hour. I was so curious how somebody can achieve what you've achieved without spending in this game, because I'm a dirty spender and a dirty whale, and it does not compute to me.
Yeah, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. Nobody like you.
I made a whole video after that video talking about like all the things that I learned from our first chat. Did you watch that by any chance? No pressure.
Yeah, I did actually. I actually told some of my clanmates that I was actually really impressed that you actually had that level of self-reflection, and then you applied what we spoke about to your own philosophy of playing this game or spending in general. So I was actually that was a really interesting takeaway from your follow-up video. So it was good to see.
Well, thanks, man. I mean, I feel like I'm in a therapy session here. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
That is so awkward to watch.
By the way, can I show like stage 10, level 47 Rockbreaker? Is that your main team? Can I run this in the background?
The Rockbreaker is actually a food champion, so it can be, it's a 4-man team.
Okay,
with a one,
just making sure.
Yeah,
okay,
so
I want to be very careful that I don't do anything that I'm not supposed to on this account because of all this stuff, like how meticulous you are with planning, which I love. But yeah, anyway, the takeaways from that video, you guys can check that video. I'll link both those other videos for you guys. But one of the biggest takeaways I had that's really impacted how I play to this day, stemming from that conversation, was honestly how efficient you are with energy, man. Like, it's like, I've been doing it the wrong way for a long time, man. You know, like energy for me, it's like, dude, you have 1 billion silver, right? 1 billion. #1 free-to-play player in the world is the richest silver player in the game. How? It all comes down to you being efficient with your energy, basically, right? Like,
yeah, so I actually did a video about this on my channel about how
I'll link it.
Some silver strategies, and basically what it boils down to is I never let my energy cap out. So even just spending your daily regeneration energy, you get about 480 a day if you're like max efficient. Obviously, nobody can be that efficient, but just spending that regeneration energy that you get for free every day actually equates to, a couple 100,000 up to 1 million silver a day. So if you think about it, every day that you leave yourself capped out on energy, you're basically giving up that level of silver per day. And of course, it all kind of, adds up over the long run. And of course, if you find some pieces of gear or you get some resources like some dust or powder or whatever, and that helps your account, then you're actually progressing your account. So that's why I always like recommend people to make sure capped out. But of course, that's a playtime issue. So everyone has their own levels of playtime, and yeah.
Indeed. Yes. I did not encourage me to go full free to play. That's one thing you didn't do. They didn't go that far. But it was a great chat. But today I have you here because, man, you are mad, bro. You're upset. We're chatting a little bit off air, and you've been able to acquire like this awesome, unofficial title, right, so to speak. But it's no surprise to anybody what's been going on in the game lately, and that is mythical champions, the stressing of or the prominence of blessings, excuse me, how important and powerful they are. And even like the faction heroes that they come out with, the couple of them in the game, I don't think they're like essential or anything like that, but they're clearly moving in this more restrictive content or very hard to get stuff. I'll throw it to you, man, because I've said enough here. Like, are you worried as a free to play? And when I say free to play too, like that should be synonymous with just like people who are spending under $100 a month or something, people operating like a few dollars here or there. Are you worried?
So there's like two angles of this conversation. One angle, like we're kind of approaching it as like end game players, looking at the end game environment. Obviously, mythical champions, primal shards, big blessings, faction guardians, empowerment, exclusive champions, like for example, like Aislinn. He's the faction ally champion, but he's not super impactful right now. But like, there's more factions to come, right?
There's more coming, right?
Yeah, more coming.
Than you, big fella. You've managed to piss off every single one of them. That was the plan. Not a great plan.
This kind of exclusive gated content for free-to-play players, like they're never gonna get, we're never gonna get like those mythical champions. We're never gonna, get some of these exclusive like exclusive champions, and even just getting like a big blessing for a brand new champion that you just require takes so long. So this area, this end game area is becoming like incredibly power crept, right? Away from
big time
free to play players, right? So this environment doesn't affect new players. Obviously, new players, they don't care about the end game environment, and they'll never get the mythical champions, and they're just happy doing their thing, progressing through whatever brutal nightmare campaign and all that. So that doesn't really affect them. So I can see how this conversation won't affect them. But for the super end game, and even there's lots of low spend free to play players that try to enter the super end game, and they're competing against them. But when you're fighting against somebody that has +4 mythical champions, you're giving up at least double your stats. You could hit them with your strongest nuker, and it would barely scratch their strongest support champion. So we're giving up a ton, and we can't get it back. We can't get those stats back like in any reasonable time. So it's definitely feeling like the ability to like keep up is obviously drifting away, and the level of power creep is definitely accelerating significantly. And of course, the writing's on the wall. We can see that void mythical champions will come probably soon. I'd say this year.
I haven't even thought about that, honestly, but you're right.
I mean, after they're done, kind of juicing everybody for just the regular mythical champions, they're going to stick them.
That's when they're really going to kick it up a notch.
They're going to stick the void mythical champions there, and then that's going to be another ball game. We can, so that's why, like, I think like a fusion like Arman's, even though a lot of people were complaining about him being too powerful, I think giving him as a tool for free-to-play players to actually have a chance against some of these rosters, I think it's a good thing. Obviously, playing against him is super annoying and frustrating, but I think Arman's as a whole is a good thing for like allowing the low spend, allowing the free-to-plays, right, to actually have a chance against some of these insane rosters that we're seeing, right?
Yeah, in a way, they brought out Sun Wukong, Ultimate Death Knight, Rathalos, Artak, who we just saw basically solo Ice Golem R10 on your account. We've seen those basically act as kind of a catch-up mechanic for new players, and hey, here's a way to stay in the game for not just non-spenders, but like really everybody, right? Because they're so good, a lot of those champions. So do you think they need to do that? Like, let's talk solution. So we know the problem. First of all, can you define what you see as very end game in your opinion, like in Raid?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think for me, end game, I think there's like 4 sections, right? There's like early game, mid game, late game. I actually had a poll recently on my channel about this: early game, mid game, late game, end game. So I think personally, end game is when you have every stage of PvE basically down to like farm, and then you're looking to optimize all those areas. So you're easily one keying all Hydra difficulties. You speed farm the top levels of every single dungeon, and now in the end game, you're basically looking to do like way more Hydra damage. So you easily one key. Now you're looking to 10
lead your team in Hydra Clash. Yeah,
Hydra Clash,
clan rather. Yeah,
boost Hydra Clash. All your dungeons are optimized, fully optimized. Now you're looking to optimize them even more. And then after that, you're basically looking at PvP and trying to excel in PvP, whether it be to farm at the highest levels, like go for tag team, try to reach platinum, and then obviously try to complete all content in the game, like fusions and all that stuff, to the best of your ability. I think that's the end game. And you can do that relatively easily, right? And you can pivot away. Like one day you can do this. Oh, something else dropped. Okay, I can do that as well. Like, when you're in that position, I think you're pretty much the end game of this game for sure.
Okay. So, I mean, ultimately, this is going to affect everybody, right? Because it's mythicals and stuff. Do you think that adding mythicals was a mistake, like flat out, from your opinion? Or how do you feel about like the addition of those in the game?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think they were looking for a runway to make the champions, make a new batch of stronger champions instead of just adding stronger void champions, for example. Is power creeping voids. I think this is the way that they can extend their design, basically have more flexibility in designing stronger champions, as well as creating a new must get, gotta catch them all type of mechanic into a new shard. And I think it makes sense. It's a smart decision on their part. I don't know if it's the best for the game. Clearly I don't think it is that smart, because I think in the past they haven't accelerated the power creep as quickly, so you don't really feel it. But in the last 12 months or so since Mythicals came, you definitely feel the power creep for sure. So
yeah, it's frustrating, man. I think like I think I'm in the minority here, but I mean, go figure. I spend money on this game, right? But like, I like mythical champions, right? But even I am noticing, and when I'm saying this as someone who's obviously spent $1 or $2 in this game, when I am saying that they're taking over in a massive way, like it's very clear. Like I'm running into I'm at 4,100 live arena, right? So not the highest, but not like significant. I guess I'm somewhere 800 or something like that. I don't know. Either way, though, I'm starting to go against, fully empowered mythical teams, like all mythical teams.
Do you see that? It's all his fault.
Not every battle, but like I'm running into at least 1 or 2 mythicals per battle. It feels like most times, and this is brand new. This is like of the last week or two, Armand's is kind of like, he's in there now too. So there's a little bit of variety, I guess, Sun Wukong and him. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that like, even I am like, oh my gosh, dude, like this is power creep to the nth degree. So I want to ask you, I wanted to talk about solutions. First of all, Remnant summons, by the way, you're sitting on 6 right now. What are you waiting for? Like, what are you waiting for there? I'm not going to do anything. I swear. I'm not touching it. Hands off.
Do you get deja vu?
Yeah, here I have to save my energy. I was thinking like there's no real reason for me to pull them other than
getting a mythical.
Take a shot at getting a mythical. That's the best situation for me is to pull those during a champion chase, so I can get some champion chase points, maybe towards a fusion or something like that.
Yep.
But I mean,
yeah.
I was hoping
you do have Mikage.
Boost. Yeah, I have Mikage. That's my only mythical, but I was hoping for maybe some kind of boost. But the more I think about it, there's probably never going to be a boost on this particular section, this Remnant, because I don't think enough people have it, and they obviously can't sell it. So there's no reason for them to boost. Yeah, so there's no reason for they can't sell it yet. I don't know.
Yeah. So wait, they're like, oh yeah, try us, man, try us.
I'm just giving it for a
5% chance, and you're sitting on 6 of these bad boys. Maybe you could be sitting on, who knows?
That's true.
This could be, if they did give better Remnants rewards, though, this could be a ticket to Mythicals for more players, right? Like, this could be it.
It could be, yeah.
Because a 2.5% chance is obviously great, So all it really is going to take is for them to up the rewards or something, or make them more, improve Cursed City by improving the Remnant summons. And that could be your vehicle to actually competing, at least in that one category. I want to talk about other solutions, though. Do you have any other ideas? Like just point blank, man. Are you worried? Are you worried that you're going to lose interest because you fall too far behind, or is that not something that you're like concerned about?
Ever since Narcissus came out, I've definitely been dropping quite a bit. More matches I've been dropping, mainly because my heavily invested champion Taras, either gets picked against me, which is really hard to deal with, or I pick it and somebody picks Narcissus against me. So he now has a clear counter that was a guaranteed champion to everybody, which I missed out on because I didn't have any void shards I didn't have enough void shards to get his guarantee. So Narcissus has become a bit of a a bit of a pain in the butt for me, since I do rely a bit on my Taros. My secondary DPS is Rotos, but Rotos gets checked too easily. I'm talking about live arena here, and now they added, obviously mythicals are a problem, and now they added Armans, which is a huge problem, especially if he's used against me. It's a huge problem. So
yes, right. I feel sure everybody feels the same way, free to play or not. Like he's a huge problem when he's on the other team. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. So I'm definitely feeling the the effects of falling behind or whatever.
Yeah.
Whether like getting mythicals and stuff on my side would be helpful for me. I mean, I'm not holding my breath. Is one of those things that you just hope that you get one once a year kind of thing, and then hope that it's an impactful one. Mainly because I wouldn't even have books to book them out, and spending resources to acquire books is actually pretty expensive, considering that Plarium has set up some of these events where you can't really overspend, I would say, to pick up things like mythical books, which is a luxury item, definitely a luxury item nowadays. So it's definitely been more difficult. So I'm not too sure in terms of overall solutions. I think offering more ways to get mythical shards would be nice, more ways to get mythical books, whether it comes from Curse City. I think Curse City makes the most sense. Maybe Live Arena also makes the most sense as well. And I think, there's going to be another there's going to be another clan boss that's going to come eventually. If you look in the clan boss section, we got normal Demon Lord, Hydra, and now we have the Great Void. That's the third clan boss. And I think that's probably the most reasonable avenue where they're going to put some of these new resources like mythical shards and mythical books. So I think that's probably where they're going to be looking towards in the future. And I think, for Plarium, I think whatever they do now that looks silly, I think they do have a future-oriented mind frame. So it's probably they're thinking 6 to 12 months out in terms of what they want to do with the game.
No.
And we know we have clan versus clan, like a real clan versus clan thing happening soonish, at least in the next few months, hopefully. So who knows? That could be a reward for that stuff too. So overall, it seems like even though you're frustrated by the current state, that maybe, I don't want to mischaracterize, but maybe like you're cautiously optimistic that some of these things will be addressed in some of this new content.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good assessment. I think in general, I think these games, as the game progresses, there's always going to be catch-up mechanics. Whether it's going to be enough to catch up to like the top of the top, it's obviously not enough. But having these catch-up mechanics will definitely make it a little bit easier for like early game, mid game players, and even players like myself that are like end game and like still holding on to like the current meta and the current environment, and just trying to improve my roster so that I can be more competitive. I think so I am cautiously optimistic. Like I said, we're gonna have new content. They're always thinking 6 to 12 months out, and like the way I think about it is like, for example, Carnage. Carnage is the main prize from Centrano City. If you look at Carnage currently, he looks absolutely insane, right? Like he has like 1900 attack. He he does a ton of damage and all this stuff. But for him, you can't even the best player in the game that's completing Centrano City, they can't acquire him for at least 5 months. So they're already thinking this champion is going to be 5 months in the future. So he's not going to be that insane in 5 months minimum. For a player like myself who can't even complete Centrano's hard difficulty right now, it's going to take me at least 9 months to get Carnage.
I don't know why you work so hard.
In 9 months, Carnage probably is not even going to be like that insane, because
he'll probably just mythicals by then.
He'll probably just be part of the pack, right? Like he'll be usable, and
they didn't do any favors on the Doom Tower hard champions. Like there's no one even worth getting there for you,
Yeah, exactly. So, so I am cautiously optimistic about what they have planned. They must have more ways of dealing out some of these resources. Obviously, they're not going to play their best hand right away when things get launched. So, so I think we know Plarium's playbook by now. I think.
For sure. So, what? other stuff in the game. So like, you know, we talked about your complaints, but I guess there's one more thing I want to ask about complaint wise, I guess, and especially any advice you can give to folks out there. And that is about fusions. Like you go for every single one. I hear a lot of talk about, I'm going to show your Armand's build as well here. I hear a lot of talk about how much more difficult they're getting. A lot less room for error, for skipping, or for missing on anything. What is your like sober take on that? Like, are these just people making a lot of noise, or do you think it's gotten like significantly more difficult? And if so, you know, how would you advise they change things?
Yeah, so yeah, Fusion Talk is like obviously very prominent, and I hear both sides of the story, right? Like I'm a moderator on Reddit, so I hear the Fusion Talk where people are saying like, this is impossible. How does anybody complete these without spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars? And then you have the other side where it's saying, oh, I've been playing the game for 6 weeks. I did this, no problem. And of course, we've seen people like Hell Hades, like content creators and stuff. They do these fusions, you know, after like only playing the game for like a month, for example, like 1 month old accounts. So it definitely can be done. It takes a lot of planning. So having a plan going in is the biggest thing. Of course, you need to save your resources. That's the other thing. If you don't have resources, you can't really do anything, even with planning. The big thing is shards. You have to have a way to acquire shards, or save every single shard that you have along the way and use them towards these fusions. You have to do things super efficiently if you have limited resources. So, for example, you know, pulling mystery shards. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to pull those mystery shards during champion chase. Right?
See, that's why I'm never going to go free to play. I'm not about the 50,000 mystery shard life. Please keep going because this is really valuable.
You're going to have to fuse those broad moths.
Yeah, this is valuable tips. And hey, like, I just want to point out that you have 22 primals as well, plus the 6 remnants. Plus, I don't know how many, 3 that you can collect from the courts as well. So like, this is all possible free to play, you know. But anyway, I digress. Go back. So the biggest thing is shards.
Yeah, the biggest thing is shards, and I think that's going to affect everybody at every level. Like even for myself, like I have shards, but I don't have shards. Like I don't have like the optimal shards for like a summon rush. For example, I only have like 2 sacred shards right now on my account. And I don't want to use void shards because I saved those for obviously good progressive events. Taras Marichka. I actually had to pass Marichka yesterday because I'm not close to Mercy.
Making those tough decisions,
Yeah, I gotta make those tough decisions. And also we have like a 2x primal event for the Deck of Fate. And I set up my Titan event so that I can full skip the Deck of Fate because I knew the Deck of Fate would have points in it. And that is just really bad news if you're still lacking points and you need the Deck of Fate points. So I set up my Titan event so that I can full skip it. But Plarium gave us a super juicy event with the 2x primal boosted rates. And that is the time where I want to pull my primals, but I can't. I can't pull them because I'm not doing the Deck of Fate. So, you know, I have to skip that. So I'm going to hold on to the primals for the next 2x event for that. You have to make some of these decisions, right? So like I said, like if you don't have the shards, you're going to be pulling your mystery shards. You're going to have to be making like fusing broad mauls. You're going to have to save some of your fragment champions just so you can have some buffers for these champion chases. You want to save your big stones, sacred shards, for example, for summon rushes. And then we have complaints about energy, right? We have complaints about how much the dungeon divers cost for energy. They're expensive, and there's usually like at least, you know, 2 or 3 of these big dungeon diver events during each fusion.
Yeah.
And then that's just, you know, big energy. So you're saving all your inbox energy, you're saving your CBC energies, you're saving up gems to try to complete those dungeons.
You're saving a lot. You're doing a lot of saving. Here's what you're doing, you know?
Exactly. You're saving it for the right time to use it.
Did you know that you were insane and nothing that you said ever made any sense to me? Yep.
Then we got to talk about silver, right? Like artifact enhancement events. You're looking at 3 of those every fusion. Like each of those are like 15, 20
How
million.
do you approach those? I mean, obviously you have unlimited silver. Is that when you do you do all your artifact upgrading every artifact upgrade event, I assume?
Yes, I do. I still do about 95% of my artifact upgrades during artifact enhancement events. Not necessarily fusions, but artifact enhancement events. Yeah.
So you're making sure at least double dipping, preferably triple dipping on everything, basically.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a good takeaway. It's good advice. Any reason that you haven't claimed your Armand's split souls or whatever in the event so far?
I have there is a reason, but
Yeah.
it's a bit of a long shot. It's basically in my mind, I'm hoping for what is this? Those Soulstone chase events, so that you can get points for pulling the soul, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
The quality of soul. So I was thinking like to save those R-Man souls for the Soulstone chase events for additional points. I'm not sure if those count for
They'll count or not. Yeah. For those of you who didn't see, I'll show you guys what I was talking about. But I noticed that in your festival event here, so you guys can see he hasn't claimed any of the split souls so far. And I was just wondering, but it really goes to show you that like you're very thoughtful about everything that you do in this game, essentially, you know, like that's the big takeaway here. And that's what makes, so like all that being said, and I'm sure if you guys want any fusion plans, and like, I know that you have a lot of like every fusion that comes out, you'll have a total game plan video on your channel too. So you guys can check that out. So overall fusions though, they are getting tougher, right? Or is that
100%.
Is that just a misnomer?
No, 100%. They're
Okay.
definitely getting harder. And honestly, I don't see Plarium like kind of rolling back some of these thresholds. If anything, they're probably going to increase. But hopefully Plarium will give us, you know, a little bit more, maybe like promo codes, maybe some more freebies here or there throughout the game to collect. So it kind of offsets a little bit, but of course it's, you know, it's a business to kind of,
I love the promo codes, but they need to juice them up a little bit too. They're pretty,
yeah,
you know.
I agree.
Sometimes when I upload those promo code videos, I'm like, I don't know, man, is this worth 30 seconds? It's going to take people to do it, you know? But maybe, well, let me just selfishly, as a free to play, those little promo codes, do they like mean something, even if it's like a little tiny bit, or not really?
I mean, I collect them all, and
Okay.
you know, they usually give us you know, at least 6 or 7 days to use them. So you know, you can find a good spot to use them, and sometimes they're helpful. You know, finish your Iron Twins.
When it's
or
one
whatever.
brew, you still feel that way.
Yeah, you get one brew, one 3-star chicken, or something.
There you go. Okay, so I want to end. We talked about a lot. We gave a lot of advice, fusion advice. Talked about the state, mythicals, blah 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 blah. I want to end with give me one bad and one good from Plarium lately.
You won't let me live.
You know, obviously Plarium is, I love that the game is actually like into like providing content for us to do stuff. Like that's way better than the opposite, which is like a dead game that doesn't get supported. So having content is not necessarily a bad thing, but when you add content and you don't kind of help with the time investment. So all this new content requires time. Central City, like it's a cool, you know, Doom Tower 2.0, but it takes so much time if you want to do it like seriously. Also Hydra is a huge time sink. Like I would love to see some kind of Centrano City like auto route maybe in the future. Maybe
like the auto climb for Doom Tower, auto route. I hear you on that.
Just do that. And then I would love to see some kind of mechanic where Hydra becomes kind of like Clan Boss, where you can one click the key and then go do your thing. And if you want to improve your key, then you're going to do a manual key, right? Because some people need to do manual keys to do Hydra Clash or whatever. But give us the option to like one click, one key, and then walk away. I would love that as a time sink solution, but time investment in this game is massive, and I think that's a problem that they haven't done enough to help or fix. In terms of one good thing, honestly, I mentioned this in another video of mine, but I'm actually impressed with how Plarium has been improving on transparency. Big thing is that in Plarium Play, so if you play on PC on Plarium Play, they actually have a calendar now, and they've actually been pretty good at updating the schedule of events. And in the schedule of events, they actually provide you with the rewards that are going to be in that event, and then they provide you some a quick written blurb about the event. And in that blurb, sometimes there's clues as to what they're planning to do. So actually, I do appreciate that, because that's kind of like a new thing, and that definitely helps people that are a little bit more dedicated to like looking for little things within the game
to optimize,
so
you know, what you're doing as well, and have an idea of what's coming down the pike as well. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a really good pro and a con, especially from your point of view. Like all the time that you must put into this game obviously we've been on your account the entire time. I'm jealous. I'll trade you a White King Narcissus for another copy of Newt. Because man, that Fire Knight team with the ally attack and 2 newts, it's like you only get the shield down once. I love that, man.
Yeah, it's nice, man.
Last question, Boozor. You know I could ask you questions all day. this might be an unfair one, but like PvE, what champion made the biggest difference on your entire account, would you say? You know, if you had to choose one.
Kymar.
Okay.
Kymar. I think it's a pretty easy one, because even before Nuke came, Kymar plus Seer was just massive. So Kymar, definitely. I think it's 100% Kymar.
There it is, Prince Kymar, and obviously a dude you can use in PvE as well, or PvP as well if you want to. Boozor, listen, thanks so much for coming on. Hopefully that Plarium will watch. I'm sure they will watch this, maybe address some of the, you know, your frustrations. But overall, like, I love that you still obviously love the game, still pumping out content for the game, still helping out so many players way more than I am. So guys, perfect time to check out Boozor's YouTube channel. Again, in the show notes below, I'll try to put in the pinned comment as well. Thanks for being so generous with your time, your advice, your opinions. We'd love to have you back on soon, man.
All right. Thank you so much.